Okay, so I've got Tina on, and Tina completed the Lazy Investors course about 2 months ago. And in the last 2 months, you've done so many things. I'm so impressed, and I can't wait to talk to you about it all. But first, how about you kind of tell us a little bit, where were you at before you decided to join the Lazy Investors course? Like, what were some of the things you were looking at doing? Why were you even looking for something like this?
Sure. So I had a retirement account that I set up when I started with my organization like 15 years ago, and I just did, a 5% allocate or 5% contribution, and it just kind of sat there, and it just existed, and I never thought much about it. So I mean, the contributions continued there, um, and investing just was never a thing on my mind. It was never a thing that like my family members have done. My partner isn't big on it, so it just was very not at the forefront of anything. And then I had a fair amount of money come in from a home sale that I made when we moved homes a few years ago, and it just sat in my checking account. And I just would always kind of chuckle on the like, I got a dollar, I got $1.50 of interest this month. Like this is just like that interest is doing nothing. And I wasn't seeking out investing, but I don't know, something just kind of it popped up on Instagram or something for me to start seeing more about investing and about self-investing because it was very unknown to me of how investing even worked and what the terminologies were.
Hmm.
But it kind of was like, all right, so I should be having my money do more for me than just sitting earning a measly little dollar a month when I don't need that chunk of money that I have some flexibility with it. So I started just kind of searching around for some courses that I could try to learn more on. And I didn't know if I was going to do financial advisor, didn't know if I was going to try it on my own, but I just kind of wanted to try to wrap my head around what possibilities were. So,
Hmm. So what made you pick the Lazy Investors? There's obviously lots of courses and things like that out there.
yeah, so I met with a financial advisor at a large organization. He was super kind, but it was going to be like a 1.5% annual fee or whatever. And so I was like, like I don't know if I jive with that quite yet, so I have the can kind of just kept shopping around and I found another uh kind of like self-paced course that was pretty high price tag in my opinion. So I wasn't ready to invest that amount in the learning. And so I kept just kind of looking around. And so then you popped up on Instagram just for me continuing to look into these different investment profiles. And so then I was, kind of creeping on you for a bit, right? Like I was following you, like just kind of listening to some of the testimonials, listening to like the ways that you talked about the Lazy Investor course. And then I went through the free like 45-minute deal or whatever it is that you offer. And it was a much more reasonable price, in my opinion, and it felt very worthwhile for what was going to be offered. I love the fact that it is a lifetime access, so I can continue to go back and like refresh myself if I forget how to determine my risk investment profile. So that is a super big perk in my opinion. And so I wanted to give it a whirl on my own and see if I could do it on my own instead of paying someone else to do something that like you've said, people can do this.
For
So
sure.
and yeah, I think you just are also very approachable and encouraging and you seem like a very nice person to work with. So I've enjoyed learning from you with your modules.
Well, thank you. I'm definitely glad you went through because holy cow, you've made some seriously big changes in the last 2 months. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what kind of changes you've already made?
Sure. So I started off with just my retirement account. But then since going through the course, I transitioned my big chunk of money out of my check or fair sized chunk of money out of my checking account and I opened a brokerage account and got that diversified how I felt comfortable with my risk profile. I opened up a small little crypto account. I opened up three 529 accounts for my three children. I opened up a money market account for my emergency fund, and I opened up a Roth IRA and was able to max out that 2025 contribution. And I plan to max out that Roth IRA contribution in 2026 as well.
And that $100,000 is no longer sitting in checking?
Exactly. $100,000 not sitting and checking, earning me a dollar of interest.
Yeah, yeah.
And so,
Uh,
yeah, I was looking back at my numbers, and it's in 2 months just from being invested with those new accounts outside of my existing 403(b. I've earned $6,000 just on being in the market instead of my like
Just in two
$3
months.
that I would have gotten. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's fun to see.
Yeah, and your survey said that even just from September, which it looks like that's when you joined the course, to January, your portfolio has increased by $32,000 in just,
Yeah.
what's that, like
Yeah.
September, October, November, just like 5 months, not even?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I also up my 403B contributions. And so like that's getting more into the market. And I got a couple more um a little bit more aggressive selections within my 403B. So I think that
Yeah.
that's helping with some of the returns. And yeah, just getting money in the stock market is
Yeah. So how does
is
it
paying off.
Yeah, no, and I love it. And I love that
Yeah,
obviously there are times when people join and the stock market is down and they don't get to see
yeah,
that instant return. And we've seen a little bit of that in early January January is also often volatile, but like to see that growth even in such a short period of time, it's affirming, right? Of like, okay, yeah, I'm
yes,
doing the right thing. How does it
exactly.
feel to have gone from like, I don't really even think about investing. I should probably figure this out too. You just dumped 100 grand into the stock market by yourself. You're managing it yourself and you're doing all this and you're preparing for potentially an early retirement.
Yeah. It feels super like empowering, right? And I'm really proud of completing a course. I know that that was a thing that you had mentioned and like and it's very real. I've purchased different courses before, not investment things. But where you don't end up sticking with it, you don't finish
Yep.
it and that's a bummer, right? And this one I was just a lot more invested in getting invested.
Yeah.
Penny. But I was excited and I was more driven and I also am just kind of a number nerd. So it was fun for me to get to dive in and like truly look at some of these numbers and projections and break down the different accounts. So I feel very proud of myself. I feel very independent, not needing to like lean to someone. Not that the experts aren't like fantastic at what they do, but
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
also cool to be able to do something on your own if it's within your power. So I'm pleased. I'm kind of tickled, honestly. It's been a good output. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah. And how does it feel to be investing for your kids now too? Like, did your parents invest for you or is this like kind of the first generation to do that?
First generation. My parents, I think, as we talked through the money story, or like as you prompted for the money story throughout the course, it was just a lot of like save. You want to
Yeah.
save, and even like when I would talk with my mom about investment, she's like, "Well, like you just don't want to lose. You don't want to lose, and like."
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm younger right now, right? I can ride that wave a little bit longer. And so I think it just wasn't something that was at the forefront of her. And I don't think that growing up that they probably had that flexibility to be able to get some money in the market. I think funds were a little bit tighter, so it was a little
Yeah.
bit like they needed to save what they had, and then that's just kind of what got instilled in me. But apologies, I actually don't remember what was your original
I was just
question.
saying, how does it feel to now be doing that for your kids,
Oh,
especially if
oh,
like
for
you're
my
the
kids, I'm
first
sorry. Yeah,
generation to do that?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's good. I am hopeful that, this will be able to help them with college, and be able to like lend that supporting hand. But then I certainly will be a big advocate for them to be aware of what money is, aware of how money is used, and then also how to manage your money, including investing and saving and planning and things like that to try to set themselves up for success as they get older. So I think this is a lot of good information for me to have in my back pocket to then try to impart on them when they're a little bit
Yeah.
older. So it's good. It's
Yeah.
cool.
And what a leg up, like to be
Yeah,
able to have even something to go towards,
for
whether it's
sure.
college, trade school, or whatever. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
so, is there anything else, like as you were working your way through the course, that you were surprised to learn, or you're excited to learn, or that you really nerded out on?
Um, Admittedly, it all was very new to me.
Yeah.
So I had really no idea what a Roth IRA was. I had heard it before, but I didn't know the difference. I have heard of allocations and stocks, but I had no idea of all the different like levels and the risk types. I've heavily nerded out on like the online calculators and the spreadsheets that you provide, like the wealth planner and the goal setting. I've kind of added to that and put some more of my own documentation and kind of tracking in there, just because it's fun to look at how that's going. But the wealth planner, I think, is actually definitely something I've nerded out on heavily and like continue to like look at frequently and like play around with the numbers, play around with the graphs.
Yeah.
So I think it was largely all new information for me, but it was very well organized and described and taught, and to be able to be at my self pace, like where I could work on it
Yeah.
when the kids were, at nap or something like that was nice too. But then having the option of getting to meet with you or, go through the coaching calls or like ping with a message or something is also super cool and helpful, if something wasn't directly covered within one of the training courses. So yeah, I
Heck
was
yeah.
pleased all around.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experience with it. I am so
Yeah,
happy to see that it worked for you. I can't wait to hear how it continues to work for you as well.
yeah,
Before I let
thank
you
you.
go, anything else you want to say before I let you go?
Thank you. Thank you for developing the course. Thank you for being a very like just a supporter, right? And like an encourager and very present and accessible, which I think is really cool to have that in a trainer and a teacher. And for offering the course as a reasonable amount of money to, like to encourage people to be able to learn on their own and to like be independent with this when it's totally possible, but then offering it on that continued basis so I can look at it in a year and like remind myself of some of this information. So thank you for putting it all together. I think it's very well, a very well oiled machine and
Yeah.
module, and it's awesome. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing it. Thanks for completing it. I'm
Yeah.
always so excited when people like get through it and then they're implementing as well. And so
Yeah.
well done with all of it.
Yeah. Thank you.